If you're ready to rent out your first property, congratulations. Whether you intentionally bought an investment property, inherited a home, moved out of your primary residence, or simply decided to keep your current house and turn it into a rental, you're about to join the world of landlording. And let me tell you something. Renting out your first property can be incredibly rewarding. It can create additional income. It can help build long-term wealth. It can be a fantastic investment, but it can also become a very expensive lesson if you don't prepare properly. The good news is that most of the common mistakes first-time landlords make are completely avoidable. Today, I want to walk you through things that every first-time landlord should understand before handing over the keys to a tenant. And before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Every week, I share practical landlord tips, Illinois landlord updates, tenant screening advice, and real-world lessons from property management. I'm Gabby Witas, owner of Nex-Gen Real Estate and Property Management, helping landlords in Chicagoland navigate the rental scene. And after years of managing rentals throughout Chicagoland, I can tell you that most landlord problems don't start after moving. They start before the tenant ever gets possession. So let's talk about how to avoid it.
Stick around, because Gabby is about to share the exact tenant screening checklist she uses for free.
Number 1. You want to determine the market rent properly. One of the first questions every new landlord asks is, how much should I charge? And honestly, this is where many people make their first mistake. They either overprice the property or underprice the property. Both can cost you money. When determining market rent, you need to compare apples to apples. A lot of landlords jump on Zillow, look at a few listings, and pick a number they like. That's not market research. What you really want to know is what has actually rented, not what is currently listed, not what someone else hopes to get. What actually rented and for how much. That's the huge difference. A property sitting on the market for 60 days at $2,300 doesn't mean it's worth $2,300. It may simply mean it's overpriced. You also need to compare similar bedroom counts, similar bathrooms, similar conditions, similar amenities, similar utility responsibilities. A property with in-unit laundry, garage parking, included utilities is not directly comparable to a property without those features. And remember, vacancy costs money. Many landlords become obsessed with squeezing every last dollar out of rent. Meanwhile, the property sits vacant for another month. Sometimes reducing rent by $50 or $100 saves you far more money than waiting another month for the perfect number. I often tell owners that I'd rather be at the market rent or even slightly below market than lose an entire month of income. The math actually favors faster occupancy. Number 2, understand landlord laws. This is the step that many first-time landlords underestimate. They think, I own the property, how complicated can it be? Very, especially in Illinois. You need to understand federal fair housing laws, Illinois landlord-tenant laws, county regulations, local ordinances, and depending on where your property is located, the rules can vary significantly. What works in one municipality may not apply in another. One of the biggest mistakes new landlords make is assuming they can simply move a tenant if problem arises. That's not how Illinois works. There are notices, there are procedures, there are timelines, and there are legal requirements. You also need to understand fair housing. You cannot make decisions based on protected classes. You need consistent screening criteria and documented processes. And trust me, learning these laws before you need them is significantly less stressful than learning them during a dispute. Number 3, screen tenants properly. If there's one area where I would tell new landlords to slow down, it's this one: tenant screening. The biggest losses I have seen landlords experience almost always track back to one thing: a bad tenant placement. Not a broken furnace, not a plumbing issue, not a roof repair, a bad tenant. The reality is that one poorly screened tenant can cost thousands in unpaid rent, property damage, legal fees, court costs, vacancy losses. And this is why I created my free tenant placement checklist. It's the exact list I use to screen tenants and helps walk landlords through the major steps of evaluating an applicant. You can download it using the link below, because the easiest tenant problem to solve is the one you never create. When screening, don't rely on feelings. Verify everything. verify income, employment, references, credit, identity. A good story is not documentation. Always verify. Number 4. Have a strong lease. Many first-time landlords make the mistake of downloading a lease online and hoping for the best. Your lease is one of the most important documents you will ever use. It establishes expectations, it protects both parties, and it provides guidance when issues arise. A strong lease should clearly address rent due dates, late fees, maintenance responsibilities, occupancy, pets, utilities, property rules. The goal is clarity because unclear leases create misunderstandings, and misunderstandings often become disputes. The stronger your lease is on day one, the fewer surprises you'll have coming up in the future. Number 5, document property condition. This one is the most overlooked step for new landlords, and it can save you tremendous headaches later. Before a tenant moves in, document everything, and I mean everything. Take pictures, take video, document walls, flooring, appliances, fixtures, cabinets, bathrooms, windows, everything. You want a clear record of the property's condition before possession is delivered. Because one day the tenant will move out, and when that day comes, documentation matters. Without documentations, disagreements become much harder to resolve. With documentations, the facts speak for themselves. This is one of those things that takes a little extra time upfront but can save countless hours. And number 6 is landlord insurance. This one surprises people all the time. Many first-time landlords assume their homeowner's policy is enough. Often, it's not. Once the property becomes a rental, your insurance needs may change. You should speak to your insurance professional and make sure that you have appropriate landlord coverage because the risks are different. You need to understand liability coverage, property coverage, loss of rent coverage, potential exclusions, and the last thing you want to discover is a coverage issue after a claim occurs. Insurance is one of those things you hope you never need. But if you do need it, you'll be glad you took the time to get it right. With all this being said, renting out your first property can be exciting. It can be the beginning of the fantastic investment journey, but successful landlording isn't about luck, it's about preparation. The landlords who succeed long-term typically do a few things well. They understand the market, they understand the laws, they screen carefully, they use strong leases, they document everything, and they protect themselves with proper insurance. If you take the time to build those foundations now, you'll put yourself in a much stronger positioning moving forward. Because at the end of the day, your first tenant can either make being a landlord enjoyable or make you question why you ever decided to rent the property in the first place. And most of the outcome is determined before they ever move in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're in Chicagoland area and looking for help with tenant placement or full service property management, my team and I would love to help you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, where's your future?